you doing? This is Coffee Break with Jimmy. And well, I guess the next thing that Trump is going to do, he put out a blockade this morning at it would be 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. 10 a.m. this morning, and that means nothing in or nothing out for Iran anyway. I guess the other countries there along the Strait of Hormuz is going to be able to ship, and they're sending tankers over to the United States right now to get loaded up with oil and other natural gases and delivered to Europe. So I guess that's the way they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to choke Iran out. Now, my thoughts were that maybe he would put boots on the ground because they've got these rocket propelled, these shoulder rocket propelled grenades, rockets anyway, and they shoot from their shoulders. So these guys are all on the ground. So in order to get these troops that are on the ground that are loyal to the Ayatollahs, they're going to have to go on the ground to get those. Possibly, maybe drones. They have drones now. Drones could do a number of different things now. So I'll have to wait and see what Trump and Pete Hegseth has in mind. But so that's what they're doing right now, and it's like they can't stop now. I know that Trump has a few words with the Pope Leo this morning, and we'll get into that in just a second. But they really didn't have words. They just have differences of opinions. But the thing is back in George H.W. Bush, when Iraq took over Kuwait, and in order to stop Kuwait, we had to go in. And we went in, and I don't know how many sorties we flew. We put boots on the ground, and we pushed Iraq out of Kuwait. But then we stopped right there at the border. We didn't go into Iraq. We didn't do any more. We didn't get rid of Saddam Hussein. We didn't continue any further. We figured, well, George H.W. Bush said, okay, that's as far as we go. And he didn't go any further. So he completed the job, the task that he was after. But he didn't stop anything. Now, this is actually prior to September 11th. Do you think maybe that could have stopped September 11th from happening? I don't know. That's, you can't say that now because we don't know. But, that was back in was it 88, 89 when this happened? This, and of course, President Clinton didn't do anything during his tenure. But, so we let Saddam Hussein live and let the Iraqi, institution, their administration stay in place, or their I don't know, you want to call their government, which was a dictatorship. But they stood in place, and of course Saddam Hussein kept screaming, "We're going to come after the U.S. We got weapons of mass destruction," and so on and so forth. They were kind of thinking along the lines of maybe nuclear weapons, maybe weapons of mass destruction. I mean, nobody really knew what he had. They didn't prove one way or the other whether he had it or he didn't. Maybe the weapons of mass destruction at one time, I always thought that maybe they took the weapons of mass destruction that were in Iraq and moved them to Iran. Because Iran, of course, we had our little tiff with Iran since 1979, and it wasn't even a tiff. They would kill our soldiers. And Trump took care of that in his first term by getting rid of Soleimani. When he killed Soleimani, because Soleimani and his henchmen, went Houthis, Hamas, the Hezbollah, they were all under his command, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that they were all into cahoots together anyway. He got rid of Soleimani, and a lot of that roadside bombing and different things that Iraq did, a lot of that stopped. Didn't stop altogether, but it stopped because they still kept coming after our soldiers that were stationed back here in the Middle East. So we didn't go into Iraq. We didn't stop Saddam Hussein. We could have stopped September 11th from happening. I don't know that, okay? I don't know that, but everything happened. It just kept rolling on. Now, this was the late 80s, early 90s when President Bush was in office. and this stuff happened, and no one continued. Now of course George W. Bush, September 11th happened in his tenure, and so he went after Iraq. He went after Saddam Hussein. He finished the job that his father should have done. And then he went on into Afghanistan, and the war in Afghanistan started, lasted for, 17 years, something to that effect. And then, of course, Obama, he came in there, not Obama, but Biden came in there and took, was the worst withdrawal that we've ever had, even worse than what we did in Hanoi in Vietnam, getting our people out. And all that stuff, it was a domino effect during that, until we got President Trump. President Trump's come in and said, okay, they can't get nuclear weapons. And that's the bottom line. And that's not just the nuclear weapons. There's going to be a change of leadership there in Iraq. Not Iraq, Iran. There will be a change of leadership. And the Iranian people will decide who that's going to be and how that's going to be conducted. And President Trump's going to allow them to do it. And I had some comments on my last podcast. My last podcast, Live or Die, and they said I should check my news sources, some other sources on what are fact. All I do is talk about what Trump's doing, what he says, what you see with your own face, what you see, what's going on, and a lot of it is factual, and a lot of it is some of my opinion. Like, I think they should put boots on the ground. I don't know that he'll do that, but he does have, 1,000, 2,000 Marines over on the Tripoli right now. Maybe they're going to put boots on the ground. I don't know. But maybe that's going to be how we're going to have to go to get everything cleaned up in Iran, to get their people to where they can make a new government there, so they can be free. And the Iranian people, they want President Trump to continue doing what he's doing. Yes, continue bombing them, continue whatever they're going to do, because at all cost, Iranian people want freedom. They want freedom at any cost. And I've heard several Iranian people talk about this, and they're in touch with the people there in Iran, and they're saying that, hey, they want freedom at all costs. And they're proud of President Trump, and they're behind him 100%. And of course, nuclear weapons if they got nuclear weapons, they're going to destroy Israel. They're going to destroy, if they have ICBM that can reach the United States, they're going to destroy the United States, or parts of it anyway, some of our bigger cities, if they can they have the missile capability to get here. We don't know this, okay, but we do know they have some missiles that can reach up to 2,000 miles, which we didn't know it up until they hit some island about 2,000 miles away. So that's again, I'll say, do you want to stay alive, or do you want to die? Because if that's what they do, and that's what the Pope has to understand, I think the Pope, of course, he wants peace. President Trump wants peace too, but he's going to go about it a different way. Of course, the Pope, he's going to pray to God, and he's going to hope that the Lord will give us peace again. But when you're dealing with some of these radicals in the Muslim faith, the Shiite Muslim faith, that is, they're radicals, and they're going to do whatever they have to do to kill the infidels, which is us. So what do you want to do? You want to live, or do you want to die? We have to stop them, and we can't stop. We can't do what George H.W. Bush did, and he stopped, and then everything continued from there, and it got worse and worse. Trump's going to stop it right now. And I don't know what's going to happen with this blockade. I don't know how that's going to work. Trump has his own plans, and sometimes some of the things that he says and some of the things that he does, like he's not on the same side as the Pope right now, because Trump wants to get rid of the Ayatollahs. He wants to get rid of those leadership over there in the country of Iran, and the people of Iran want them out. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens, okay? But that's what they're doing right now, the blockade, and apparently that's what they think is going to happen, right? Just choke them out. If they can't make any money, they can't trade, they can't send any oil anywhere. They're going to let all the other ships from other countries there, from Bahrain, UAE, and Qatar, they're going to let their ships flow in and out. But anything coming from Iran, they're not going to let through. The blockade exists for them. So we'll see what happens. And then I guess Eric Swalwell, the governor of California, and this is another thing that maybe Trump did wrong, maybe, but he does have his own ideas. He's got a plan. And Trump does things for a reason. He's got a plan. But Eric Swalwell, they asked him to step down from the governor's race. Now, the governor's race had 5 contenders in the Democratic Party, and they all had certain numbers, all around 10 to 13%. And then you had Steve Hilton up around, well, he was at 17, now he's at 19. Then you had Chad Bianco, which was, him and Steve Hilton was neck and neck at 17 and 16, but Bianco dropped down to, I think, 11%. So he's still in that mix there with all the rest of the Democrats. But what we want Bianco and Hilton to kind of run together, be on top. If they run that, they have that 16, 17%, 19, maybe 18% of all the voting here in the state of California. We might get 2 Republicans who are going to run against each other for the governor of California, which would be great. I don't think we haven't had that since they've had this thing where now whoever the 2 top top voters, they're going to run against each other. And whether that be a Republican and a Democrat, the Democrat, that's 60-40 in the state of California. The Democrats got a real good chance of winning. And we've never had it, and they usually have 2 Democrats running against one another, and that's usually the way it happens. But Trump endorsed Steve Hilton. And maybe that might not been such a good thing. I was talking to my father-in-law yesterday, and he was telling me this. I didn't look at that from that standpoint, but he opened my eyes on that. And maybe that might not have been a good thing for him to endorse Steve Hilton at this point in time. He wanted Chad Bianco and Hilton to stay running neck and neck. And this would have kept the rest of the Democrats, kept them out of the picture. And then we just have 2 Republicans running. Now, I know the Republican Party here in the state of California, they're trying to do some damage control and get Chad Bianco back up and get his numbers back up to where him and Hilton are going to be competing against one another for the governor. And so we'll see what happens there. But everybody, this is all politics, right? They have ways of making things work, and the Democrats have ways of cheating. Keep that in mind. Democrats have a way of cheating. Always have, and I don't care what they're running for because they have no policy. They got nothing. That's why the state of California is in such bad shape. We got the worst poverty in anywhere in the United States. We got the worst homelessness anywhere in the United States. We have higher taxes, higher gas prices. Now, the gas prices are up right now because of what's going on in Iran. That's going to come down. That's going to come down when this military excursion is going to be over. And it will be over before long because Trump's not going to let it go on forever. He doesn't want wars. He wants peace. But he also wants peace for the United States. USA first, right? He wants peace for the United States. And if that means knocking out Iran so they can't have nuclear weapons, they can reach us and knock out New York City, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Miami, whatever they can reach, they will, and destroy it and kill millions of people with nuclear warheads. And they don't care if you fire back to them because, hey, they're, according to their religion, they're going to get 72 virgins if they get killed or they get rid of the infidels. That's what's going to happen for them. How stupid that is. Anyway, and Pope Leo, Trump, you need to work with him too because Pope Leo he's our leader for the Catholic Church. He's our leader for the world as far as religion goes. And he has to want peace and serenity where people can actually live together and work with one another. That's what he wants. He wants the godly people to survive and to be good to one another. That's what the idea with the Catholic Church is. With any kind of religion, I don't care what religion you are. Everybody wants the goodness to happen, and so we'll see what happens here. So anyway, we're going to see what the blockade does, and see if that gives Iran an idea that they can't do anything, that they're locked down, and we'll see what happens. And hopefully that'll happen. Hopefully Trump and the Pope they'll work out their differences, and I hope Champ Bianco and Steve Hilton can get to where the race is between them two again, and we'll see what happens there, because we need a Republican governor here in the state of California. I mean, come on. Do you want to keep losing California? Do you want to keep losing? Then keep doing the same damn thing over and over again. Elect these stupid Democrats that don't have a plan. Gavin Newsom set out the template for the Democrats, and they're just going to follow it. We need a Republican governor in the state of California. So I hope that stuff works out. So anyway, this is Coffee Break with Jimmy. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and share, and that notification bell. And I'll see you next time on Coffee Break with Jimmy. Thank you.